It's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Vayetze. You can't go back. Look at the beginning of the Parsha. It seems that Yaakov goes back. Vayetze Yaakov in Beersheva. Yaakov left Beersheva. Vayel Haran. He went to Haran. But then Vayivgav Makom, he's there, and it turns out he's in Beit El. If he already left Israel from the south, from Beersheva, and he went up to Syria, to Haran, how could he suddenly be back at Beit El again, back in the south? So the Gemara in Hulin, Sadi Aleph Mabiz, gives an answer. It says that that he said to himself, Ki matala Haran, when indeed he did go to Haran, he said, is it possible I passed the place where my ancestors prayed? Rashi says, Avraham prayed at Mount Moriah, because perhaps he was praying when he didn't want to give Yitzchak up. He was praying that God should save him. Rashi says that Yitzchak also prayed in the same place. He called it a field, he called it a mountain, but it was when Yitzchak was praying in the field in Parshat Chayesara, it's also Jerusalem. So he said, how could I pass Jerusalem, a place where my ancestors prayed? Lord Palel, and I didn't daven. I got to go back. So as soon as he thought of doing it, all of a sudden he had kfisa, suddenly he came back to where he was. And then Vayivgav Makom, he was about to daven, and then he says, look, he should go to sleep. So the sun went down, and he went to sleep. So I have a question. Why is Yaakov going to Haran? Haran, because Elavan Achi Haran. He's going to his mother's brother in Haran. Who else used to live in Haran? His ancestors. The reason is his mother's brother is related to his father as well. Avram had a brother Nachor. Nachor had a son Betuel, and Betuel gave birth to Rivka. So it's really the homeland. He's going back home. He's going to the place of Abraham, the place where Terach moved, the place where Abraham lived for a while, the place of his mother's family. Do you think that his family didn't pray there? Sure they did. They must have prayed in Haran. So why does he have to go back to Beit El, to Jerusalem? According to the rabbis, Beit El here is really the house of God, is really Jerusalem. Why does he have to go back to Jerusalem to pray? Because it's a place where his forefathers prayed. Let him stay right there. In Haran, it's also a place where his forefathers prayed. You think Avraham and Sarah didn't pray in that place? You could say he means a place where Yitzchak prayed as well, not just his grandfather, but his father. I'd like to suggest a very simple and short thought today. It's true. Haran is a place where his ancestors prayed. And Jerusalem is a place where his ancestors prayed. But there's a difference. There's an interesting question. Why is Jerusalem, or Israel for that matter, why is it holy? Is it holy because it's intrinsically holy? It was made that way. Before Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, anybody prayed there, anybody lived there, it was holy. That's why it's the Holy Land, after all. Abraham goes to the Holy Land. Or no. When Avraham came to the land and he traversed it, Yamava, Kedma, Tzavonava, Negba, north, south, east, west. When Yaakov prayed there, when Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov prayed there, when they lived their Jewish lives there, that's when it became holy. And look in the writings of Rabbi Soloveitchik, he talks about intrinsic holiness, extrinsic holiness. Sometimes it seems that Rabbi Soloveitchik believes in intrinsic holiness, sometimes he believes in extrinsic. The answer probably is that there's an element of both. That the land of Israel is holy because God says so, because God is there, God rests there, a special kind of way, special kind of divine providence there. But also, the land of Israel is holy because people like Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah, they lived there and they prayed there. Now let's go back and try to answer our question. Yaakov is in a place where his forefathers were, where Avraham was there, and Rivka was there. So why can't he pray there? Why does he have to go back to Jerusalem? Because it's a difference. It's true. Avram was once in Haran, and it was there that he decided that he would move to Israel. He heard the voice of God. Perhaps he had the covenant of the parts there. Maybe yes, maybe not. He had prophecy. Rivka lived there. That's where she became this wonderful and giving young lady. It's true. They were there. But that doesn't endow the place with the holiness. When they were there, it was holy. When they left, it wasn't holy. We were at Mount Sinai. When we were there, it was holy. As soon as we went off the mountain, it wasn't holy. The cattle go up the mountain. There's no holiness afterwards. Comes the land of Israel. If once 3,000 years ago somebody prayed there, that becomes holy, and it becomes holy forever. So you ask yourself, what's the difference if I take a trip to Vilna, take a trip to Bialystok, take a trip to Varsha, take a trip to different parts of Galicia, to Krakow. Maybe you come from Hungary. If I go to those Alta Heims, those old places where my forefathers davened, great righteousness and piousness, Radom, where the Chavetz Chaim was. What's the difference if I go there or I go to Hebron, Beit El, holy places? What's the difference? And both places where my forefathers prayed, both places where my forefathers were holy and did holy things there. But there's a difference. When you bring holiness to a place outside of Israel, it's temporary. It has a holiness at that time. When the Jews are there, it's holy. When they leave, it's nothing. Mount Sinai, who knows where Mount Sinai is, except for Eliyahu and Navi? Nobody really cares. It doesn't matter. It's not holy anymore. The places where our forefathers davened outside of Israel created the holy space at that very time, but it did not create a holy space for all eternity. Vilna is no longer a holy city. No significant Jewish community. I don't know about the current community, no offense to them, but if there's no community in Krakow of great significance, it's not a holy community anymore. There's no community in Vilna, it's not a holy community anymore. But in the land of Israel, if there were 3 Jews who lived in Jerusalem, it's a holy place. If there was somebody who lived in Akko, and they lived there and they davened there, it's a holy place. There were Jews who lived in the times of the Talmud. They lived up in the Galil, in different cities there, Chispin, the Golan. It's holy. It doesn't matter that they're not there anymore. It retains that holiness. The land of Israel is like a Ziploc bag. It seals the holiness in and it keeps it there forever. It preserves it forever. That's the nature of the land of Israel. It's intrinsically holy, and it becomes extrinsically holy by virtue of the people who pray there, but then it remains particularly holy. Why did Yaakov have to go back to Jerusalem when he was in a place? He was in the Alter Haim. He was there with the family tree. He was there where it all started. He was there where Abraham discovered God. You know why he has to go back? Because the place he's going to lost its holiness. When Rivka left, when Abraham left, there's no holiness there anymore. Maybe he'll bring some, but there's really nothing there. He's going to have to make it all himself. When it comes to Jerusalem, that holiness remains there. One might argue, if you have the extrinsic argument, that the reason Mount Moriah is holy because Abraham brought his son there as an Akedah, as a binding of Isaac. The reason Mount Moriah is holy is because Yaakov had his dream of the ladder there. And therefore, he sensed that this place was a place that he needed to go back to, that still had the holiness. The holiness, even when his fathers weren't there, the holiness would be there. He could be in touch with his forefathers just by virtue of being in Jerusalem. Just by virtue of being in Jerusalem. But the Quran, there's nothing there. So we have to remember, there's a difference. The difference in going to Uman and going to Jerusalem. The difference between going to Beersheba and going to Vilna. And even the places that we create today that are holy, Borough Park and Far Rockaway, and places in Chicago and Los Angeles and New York and Miami and Memphis and all kinds of great places. They're holy now. People are there. But we know the future of the Jewish people is in the land of Israel. And it's the land of Israel that will forever retain that holiness. it maintains it, and as a matter of fact, it puts that stamp of holiness on those places, and that stamp never leaves. That holiness is eternal, it's forever. That's the land of Israel. It has captured all the experiences of all the Jews of all the centuries who lived in those holy places. That's what the land of Israel is. Holiness from God. It's a place with great divine providence, and it's a place that captures and retains and seals in all the holiness, all the good deeds and the mitzvot, all the great stuff of all those who came before. There's a difference between the land of Israel and outside of Israel. Both places could be holy. Both places could have holy people. The one that preserves the holiness forever is the land of Israel. Thank you for joining us here at the Baron Hirsch Congregation in Memphis, Tennessee for a discussion, Parsha Vayetze. Join us each week for a discussion, Parsha on the holidays. And thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.